Hi, I'm Dennis O'Hara with Century 21 Celli, and this is our Agent Spotlight series. And today, joining me is a brand new agent to Century 21 Celli, but not a brand new agent in her own right, Kim Kearns Nardone. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Dennis. Thank you for having me this afternoon.
Right. And so you are a new agent to Century 21 Celli, so I wanted to welcome you on behalf of everyone of us and say that we're excited to have you on. And I know we normally start off by talking about how someone decided to get into real estate, but in your case, you have something in common with our agency owner, Craig, in that you were both brought up sort of in real estate families. Why don't you talk about that?
Yes. So actually, my dad, who he worked for Century 21 himself years ago. Prior to that, he owned his own brokerage in Arlington, Mass. It was called Associated Brokers, but he had deep roots actually with Craig Celli's parents, which is how I've always been connected with Craig for a couple decades, via real estate because our parents worked closely with one another. So spent a good amount of my childhood and my tween years and teen years going to open houses on Saturday and Sunday. And, back then it was the Rolodex. We didn't have online, so it wasn't the MLS. It was getting the new listings, plugging them into the Rolodex, getting the maps out, right? Mapping out where you're going to, show your clients around for the weekend. So we've come a long way since then. But, and from there, I myself did a little bit of investing. I've invested in a couple properties in New Hampshire. I've flipped properties and I'm also an agent and I love what I do. I love serving people and it's a journey. It's not just about selling the house. It's,
Mhm.
finding out what their needs are and helping them get there. Usually when I go to a listing appointment, my first question is, why are you selling, right? Everybody's, selling for a reason. And it's really helping them through that process in the next chapter.
Mhm. Great. And so describe what you would be the process, say, if I wanted to meet with you about selling my property, about how, say if I'm looking to list in 6 months or 2 months. I mean, how long do I wait or, things.
Yeah. So I always say it's never too early to start the conversation, right? And I actually think it's smart just to have informational meetings too to find out what the value of your property is. Sometimes there's life events that happen that we're not planning on. And the more educated you are, the more prepared you are if you were ever in that situation. So I look at it as an informational gathering session, whether it's something that you look to do in 2 months or 2 years from now. It's good to just, be informed. So typically what I do when I'm meeting with a homeowner is I will do a market analysis on their property and give them an idea, of where their property stands in that current market and giving them options. This isn't one size fits all. So it's giving them 4 or 5 different options of different routes they could go to selling their house. This isn't one size fits all and really customizing a plan that makes sense for each individual homeowner.
Mhm. Right. And so what areas do you service?
So I service the greater Boston area within the 495 belt. I mean, I've been known to travel out to Westfield, Springfield, down the Cape. I'm all over up to the New Hampshire border, but within Massachusetts. And I myself live in Stoneham, and now I'm with, Craig Celli's office at Century 21, which is in Stoneham. But I definitely strong in the community. I grew up here since I'm telling my age here, but I've been here for 50 years. I've raised my family in this community. And I love Stoneham because of its close proximity to Boston, to jumping on 95, 93, all the way up to New Hampshire, which is why I'm able to service the greater Boston area. We are like the Mecca when it comes to interstate highways here, so you can easily get somewhere in minutes.
So let's talk about some of your other work. I know you work with autism and Special Olympics.
Sure. Yeah.
Take
So a big part of what I like to do is give back to the community and people in need. So one of the ways that I was able to help out was to create a revolving fund with autism housing pathways. I have friends that have children with autism, and a big concern is what's going to happen to my child when I can no longer care for them if I pass, right? So I really dove deep into that and found out there was a need for housing for young adults as they turn 18 that have autism. And I connected with Autism Housing Pathways and partnered up with someone, and we created this revolving fund. So what the purpose of this fund is usually you need first, last, of security, for these group homes that they move into, but it's hard to do that because you also can't show assets. So it's a way that they can plug in and through this revolving fund, they can put up first, last, a security deposit to secure their spot, and they have to pay it back with their, disability check. So that fund is always moving and helping many, many individuals over the years, and it will continue to do so. It will live on outside the immediate need, which is awesome. So I've done fundraising for that. And then, within the community, I sponsor the A's baseball team. All three of my boys grew up through Stoneham Little League. I've supported my local church. I have helped, support with the community meals in town, also larger organizations, both nationally and internationally, whether it was the Special Olympics, American Cancer Society, Brain Tumor Association, and I actually have the Kearns Nardone Foundation Fund where I can draw those funds and I give a bit of my proceeds to help those in need.
Right. All right. And so you've been talk about where you've been, working the last few years before you decided to.
Sure. So prior to Century 21 with Craig Celli, I was at City Light Homes with Peter Solaris, who had a show on A&E called Flipping Boston. I got connected with Peter, who owned that brokerage, because I too was doing off market, flipping, wholesaling, all of that. And it naturally, organically fit into what he was doing in his office. It's one of the entities. I always tell people, put multiple poles in, your fishing rods and you don't know what's going to pull. So there's a lot of traditional agents that just do retail. I really do all encompassing. So sometimes I deal with properties that are in distress or help investors or builders in, land development, stuff like that. But I also do the retail side, which, makes up more than 50% of my business, working with, your average homeowner that they want to sell their primary residence. But, it's hard to find someone that's skilled in all facets. And so it was a natural connection because I understood that side of the business where a lot of agents are just traditional, helping, buyers and sellers with residential sales.
And so what drew you to the Century 21 brand?
Honestly, I think, having deep roots with this brand. My father was with Century 21 over 30 years ago. It's tried, it's true.
You used to have
It's
to wear the jackets?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Those gold jackets. I was joking about that because when I went into Craig's office, it's almost like, the memoir wall. There was one against the wall. And I said, I remember we had many of those blazers in our house that we drop off at the dry cleaners to my father. So, having deep roots there, and it's lasted the test of time. I mean, we've seen a changing market. We saw it in the 80s. I lived through that. Then the 07, 08, and now, recently with the pandemic and with the interest rates on the increase. So I've, seasoned, I've seen it all over the years, the ebbs and the flows, and they have been a cornerstone in the market, and they continue to deliver with the trends, which is super important to me. It's not, sometimes you'll see these flashy companies that pop up and then they fizzle out, but Century 21, with its deep roots and expertise in the market, they are one of those brands, kind of like the Coca-Colas and the Pepsis, really, when it comes to real estate.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So, Kim, we're going to have your information sort of in a crawl on the screen, of course, but in case someone's just listening, could you let us know how to get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So again, it's Kim Kearns Nardone. It's at gmail.com. That's my email address. You can also call me at 978-766-2327. You can check out, it's under construction right now. My website is kearnsnardonerealty.com. Right now, it will direct you to my social media accounts on Instagram. You can also find me on Facebook. It's Kearns Nardone Realty.
Excellent. Right. Well, we look forward to definitely working with you, and you've already helped enhance our social media presence already. You and your partner Vanessa, who came along with you, who we hope to speak with soon. Anything else you'd like to talk with us about today?
Yeah, no. So I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity, and Craig, and just let anyone know that's listening to this, if you have any questions and you just want a curiosity, see maybe what your property is worth, or brainstorm different options, something that you might see that's coming up in the future, don't hesitate to give me a call. It isn't just one size fits all. We can definitely customize and meet you where you're at. And like I said, I recognize that these are life events. Usually when people are selling, it's because of a reason. And I really come from a point with a servant's heart, and, my clients often become close friends, and I look forward to where this business leads me next. And hopefully, if you're listening to this, we can partner together.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think you've said it all. Thanks for joining us.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dennis. I appreciate it.